Greetings. Welcome to another episode of Caribbean Current, a series where we spark conversation within the Caribbean community, especially around the areas of music and culture. My name is Marissa, and we have the rest of the team here. We also have
Nailah.
and
Skywalker.
Oh, you're very calm today. What's up with that? Okay.
I was ready for the yeah.
Right? Like, what's going on?
You did a good job there, Dialogue. Yeah, go on. Do your thing, Dialogue. Go on.
Skywalker, step on the mic.
And I'm from Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Anywho, so we're back again. Always have some interesting topics. And this week, the crew wanted to talk about something that's on most people's minds right now. And that is the upcoming US elections that's taking place on November 3rd. So we have a vice presidential nominee who has roots from the Caribbean and from India. And we wanted to talk about what a role that plays with her in terms of how she presents herself and how she appeals to our community and the things that we need to consider as we head to the polls. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So Jay, tell us a little bit about who is Kamala Harris.
Who? So
did I say it right?
Oh, you said it right. So Kamala, she is first of all, she was the first Black and first Indian California district attorney and then attorney general, and then first Black American, Indian American who also went to the Senate. She was born in Oakland, California, to immigrant parents. Her mom is from India. Her father is from Jamaica. They were both in the civil rights movement. She was actually part of the second generation, I think, of busing in California. So not only being part of the civil rights movement, she was in the middle of that big fight of bringing Black people and, well, people of color and white people together in the United States. Her father teaches at Stanford. Her mother is involved with cancer research. As we would find out, the relationship between both Kamala, Mina, and her father, kind of estranged. The relationship between Kamala, Mina, and their mother clearly was great. However, it does seem like Kamala and the rest of her Jamaican family seem to have been good because they played together growing up and all that kind of stuff. And as I said earlier, her cousins went to my high school, Wilburs. Just saying.
There it is, Nailah. There it is.
There it is. It's back. But I'm a big Wilma's fan as an Andrews girl. So
well, I mean, Andrews turn up. So I mean, yeah. So as I was saying though, and we'll get into this later, but she's definitely seems to hit all marks when it comes to whatever is called the African American experience here, which is she went to Howard University, the big HBCU around here. Like, I think that's like the most popular one. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying. Morehouse, my friends at Morehouse, like Clark, might cuss me off for that, but I'm just saying.
Yes, Jason, and excuse me, I went to the real HU, Hampton University. So
you went to Hampton?
I went to no hate on Howard though, no hate on Howard because many of my Jamaican friends went to Howard, so I still respect Howard University big time.
Nice.
And then also she was part of the sorority experience, which most people from the Caribbean don't normally get involved with that. So that's definitely an African American experience. I mean, straight up. And and since so as a historic attorney general for California, she did a lot of groundbreaking things. Some people call controversial, but there were some groundbreaking things. And then when she went to Senate, the things that there were challenges for, she actually has been trying to address along with Cory Booker in the Senate, specifically around mass incarceration and so on and so forth.
Okay. So thank you for that because, yeah, I think you added a lot of layers that might be mysteries to some people. So I think that's great. In terms of today's conversation, Kamala, as it relates to the US elections and engaging the Caribbean community, do you all have any thoughts as to Is she doing a good job? What is she doing to appeal to our community? Like, what are your perspectives?
So Kamala's team, her manager is Haitian American. I want that fact to stand out. Mm-hmm. And you know, I don't want to come out here sound like I'm criticizing people, but there was the attempt to reach out, say, to some Caribbean people in South Florida, and there was no connection to the Haitian community. She linked up with one person who's a part of the Electoral College. His name is Marlon Hill. Did an interview with him, which he has given copies of to various media people so they can play on their platforms. But that was it. That was very disappointing in my opinion. So just to answer your specific question, this is fresh in my mind because this just happened last week.
So just to be clear, Jason, so you're saying there is an opportunity for more outreach from her side, or was it that the people then respond to the outreach?
Oh, there was more opportunity because it was a swing through South Florida. Mm-hmm. However, you had the opportunity to call people.
Okay.
And in this world of Zoom and phone calls, you have the opportunity, like in literally in 2 hours, you could have hit all the Caribbean communities sitting in one space.
Right.
And that did not happen. Okay. And your manager is from one of those communities. Like that to me, that's why that blew my mind totally. Was it Corinne Jean-Pierre? I think her name is. Like, your manager's from the Haitian American community. Why aren't you talking to anybody from the Haitian American community? Anyway, and Marlon Hill made sense. Marlon Hill was low-hanging fruit because Marlon Hill is the only Caribbean person who is also in the Electoral College. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see Marlon Hill anyway because this is the part of, for those who don't know, this is the part of presidential campaigns when you talk to the electoral voters and say, please vote for me. You know, you're like, because as you know, the last election was won by the Electoral College, not the popular vote. So the Electoral College is actually really powerful. So meeting with Marlon Hill, that was a no-brainer. That was going to happen no matter what. So it didn't seem like there was any attempt to really outreach. Okay. And I'm sorry to be one of the persons stating dissenting conversations about first ever.
No, but we have to open the lines of communication, right? So we have to be aware of it so we could address it, so we could improve it. So I think it's important to say that.
And then I'm wondering, why is there no outreach? You know, like I would think that if you know, her being on the ticket, you want to have all the people of color voting for the Biden-Harris ticket. Right. And so that includes the Caribbean community and in your case, the Haitian community. So if as a Jamaican immigrant, if I'm seeing that she's not reaching out to the Haitian community, then I'm kind of looking at her side as like, are you even going to appeal to the rest of the Caribbean community in the United States? It just makes me question that. And it could have just been that situation. Maybe, I don't know what could have been happening in that situation, but it definitely is something that's going to pique my interest to see what she does with that, you know.
Well, to go with what you're saying, they're walking into this with already a formula and plan. Mm-hmm. Both Obama campaigns, 2008 and 2012, they reached out to Caribbean people heavily. Like they really sat down with people, media people, community leaders, blah 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 blah, and like literally Obama on the phone talking to us.
I remember that.
Michelle on the phone talking to us, having questions. Like, you know, no matter what the question was, I remember I asked one crazy question and Michelle, in a very classy way, answered my crazy question. Anyway, whatchamacallit? Now, that being said, right now as we're speaking, there is a meeting by the Democratic Party with Caribbean leaders, and I was invited to it, but, you know, I have to do this. So I don't know what's happening in that meeting. I don't know what they're saying. Maybe they're rectifying that conversation. But I don't get it because they already had a plan. Like, all you have to do is look at the Obama plan and maybe improve on it. Mm-hmm. And, you know.
So my perspective, and, you know, I have a lot of debates with people about this. So as a marketer, I try to put on a hat of, I'm not engaged in this content at all. And are you getting my attention? And from my perspective, I'm not, to your point, Jason, I'm not seeing the outreach, right? Like, I'm not seeing messages that appeal to the Caribbean community. I'm getting more of the Biden-Harris emails, so that tells me that the outreach is intensifying, and I'm getting more
Oh,
emails and
you
texts.
don't get the text?
And the text, yeah, sorry, I didn't say that, but the text as well.
Like
but in
50
terms
texts a
of
day.
the messaging, though, the
Right,
messaging is just I want some more
Generic.
money, and
Right.
the one thing they do well, I think, is they list out the issues and like which one is most important to you. So I do have the option there to choose immigration.
Which you always talk about. You
Right.
always talk about what are the issues you're standing up for.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and be very clear with it. Don't give me a generic message. So that's my one
because
thing.
as a Caribbean
immigrant,
my
issues are different from, let's say,
that
personalization,
Hispanic
immigrant. I don't know, but our issues are unique to our community.
But
And let me
Marissa,
know that
let me just say something.
because when you're
before
in office, I want
Biden
you to
even chose Kamala, right? Kamala. One of the issues that I saw was that Biden kind of almost felt, this is my opinion, but felt a little entitled that he already had the black vote.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because he was Obama's VP and also he's Democrat, and we see what the other option is.
Right.
And so I'm wondering.
I think it's mainly because of the other option part.
well, I think we can consider all of those factors, right?
Right.
And I'm wondering though, well, is this by default then that if you feel like you already have the black vote, then by extension, you're going to have the Caribbean vote? Because you know how Jamaican people say. Jamaican people, we're always trying to hype up each other like, whoa, we have Jamaican in the house. Yeah. But you shouldn't assume that, because you never know how people are truly viewing you as the candidate. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to say that that's what she assumes. I hope that's not what she assumes.
Right.
But we've already kind of seen situations like that with Biden. So it makes me wonder then, is she truly going to do the work to reach out to the Caribbean community because of her connection to Jamaica, you know?
Right.
And then let's bring up another issue.
Mm-hmm.
Then, because I remember talking to you about this before, her being an immigrant who's never still, but you know, that's a Simeon live with me. The second thing is the fact that she is not a descendant of African Americans in this country.
No, she did.
Right.
And she truly
relates.
I mean, yes, she went through that segregation period, but she's not a descendant, so she's not really dealing with the same issues that descendants of African Americans had to deal with. Then she's married to a white man. Let's just call it what it is. Mm-hmm. Can she truly, I don't know, does she truly understand the relate? Mm-hmm. And then what about her work in California as Attorney General?
Right.
You know,
where she was,
mm-hmm. Right. But these are a lot of issues that are causing me pause, because yes, I'm glad that it's the black woman. And you know, she has my vote, because again, we see what the other option is. Mm-hmm. But these are legitimate issues that I think her being the VP candidate, she needs to go ahead and bring to light.
Here's why to me it's important, right? Because to your point, I mean, she has my vote. That's not a question. But when you think about people who might be on the fence, for people who might be on the fence, and there are many, right? When you compare the other option and how he appeals to his base, whether he believes it or not, he's able to present an image that he understands what they're going through. And it has created an almost cult-like following. Yes. So, you know, when you know that's what's happening on the other side, then you have to do an even better job. Because at first I was like, why people keep holding her to the coals? You know what I mean? Like, because the other option is doing worse for Black people, worse yet Caribbean people. But at the end of the day, it's like she has to find a way to connect because of the things you listed, Nailah. There are too many disconnects and too many things that are causing question marks. Like, she has to present as if she understands our issues, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then
here's the thing. Okay. So here's the thing. Before I go to Nailah, here's the thing. I want to go to what you said earlier. I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe Kamala is intelligent enough. Born in Oakland, California. Oakland, of all places. During the civil rights movement, coming up through busing, Howard University, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't see how she can't relate. I just don't see it because I don't born here, so. But ever since I came, I've learned and I've come to understand. Yes, I understand a different reality, a different perspective, but I understand a lot about the African American experience, and so I don't think that's necessarily an issue with her, in my opinion. What I agree with is what Marissa is saying is that she is not hitting the things that would really galvanize us. You know, that IG thing she did with Sarah, the white Jamaican girl. Well, she's not white, but you know, the Jamaican comedian, as a specific Jamaican thing. Like, you know, that wasn't enough. Especially since you have a playbook from Obama, and Hillary, because even the Hillary campaign did a decent job reaching out to the Caribbean community, in my opinion, because they actually spoke to people, spoke to their actual issues. And she's not doing that, to be honest with you, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you know, our producer Genesis just enlightened us that, you know, one of the problems with the Democrats, yes, Marissa and I say that she has, not she, but they have our vote, but there are still some swing voters in places like Florida, which are with a huge Caribbean community and Latina community. So, you know, maybe it is very important for her to connect with that community so that they can get the votes in those areas, you know. But then at the same time too, and I'm back and forth. At the same time too, look at what Obama did. Obama was raised by a white woman, you know, never really knew his Black father. He's also not the descendant of African Americans, but he was able to connect with the Black experience in this country. And he had a lot of people of color, Caribbean people too, rallying behind him. So maybe she has a plan.
We could
well, I'll go back to the point is Obama had a campaign to target us. You know, and not to mention, let's be real, dude was charismatic, kind of in the Martin Luther King kind of lane. I'm not saying as charismatic as Martin Luther King. Dude was very charismatic. Once he lost to Hillary in New Hampshire and did the, was it, Yes We Can speech? It was pretty much over because of the charisma, like, caught everybody tremendously. But he actually had a strategy for every community, and his team executed that. And my issue is, it doesn't seem like she has a team that knows how to do this. If the manager of her campaign is from Haiti, and they go to Florida, and they don't talk to the Haitian American community, that's madness. And
here's another layer to that, right? Sorry, Jason, you finish, and then
I was just saying, and to me, talking to Marlon Hill is actually very easy because you had to go to Marlon Hill because he is on the Electoral College. So I can just see him saying, "Yo, we need to record something real quick. Let's do this." So once again, it doesn't sound like there is an actual what's the word I want? A purposeful approach by the team to reach out to the Caribbean community.
And to me, I would agree. I do see a gap in terms of communication, but I also think there's another layer in terms of people like myself who, like, first generation, who came here to live but grew up in the Caribbean. Like, my political affiliations are where I'm from, right, in Trinidad. And I vote in the US because I understand it's a right, and I stay aware of the issues, but I don't delve too deeply, you know. And I think from my experience, because there was a time when I used to do a lot of politically active gatherings, that was the things that I would see within our community. Like, they don't care enough to come and find out more about politics or electoral college or all that kind of stuff, right? They just bare basics: who I need to vote for and why am I voting for them. And to me, like, Obama was successfully appealed, to your point, Jason. He appealed even to those people who were just like bare minimum, who I need to vote for. and that we've lost that momentum. You know, we've lost that momentum because people became more politically engaged with Obama and they wanted to find out more. And then there was this big dip and we haven't recovered as yet. And to take the blame away from Kamala, is it that we also as a community need to become more engaged? Like, what is the gap? You know what I mean? Like, yes, they need to reach out to us, but what is our role in being more politically active and making sure our rights and our issues are being brought to the forefront? Any thoughts?
Well, I think we're doing that by having a like this, yeah, and then putting it out to the Caribbean community for feedback. You know, maybe this will get into the hands of Biden and Harris, and they will kind of hear what 3 Caribbean immigrants have to say. You know, go ahead, Jason.
So there are people who have been in government who have responded. Yes, that's the word. Have responded to the needs of the Caribbean community. But what I found, and even non-Caribbean rooted individuals, and what I found is because they had experiences with Caribbean people. So, for example, Senator Barbara Lee, who was the one that pushed Caribbean American Heritage Month through Congress, it's because she had an experience with Shirley Chisholm. Congressman John Lewis, who got resources for Caribbean American Heritage Month in Georgia, and even set up trade missions with the mayor of Atlanta and various Caribbean countries. It's because there was a bevy of Caribbean people up in his office throughout the year, either volunteering, advocating, earning their respect to then listen to us, to the needs that we have. And I've seen it happen in DeKalb as well, in DeKalb in Georgia, by the way. For those.
So it can be done then. It can
Yes,
be done. Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying is politicians like anybody else. It's like, what have you done for me lately? If they see you involved with them, they get involved with you.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. And
let's be clear too. I mean, yes, this is the 2020 election. If Biden Harris win, then we got 4 years. I would like to be able to vote them back in if they do the work for my community. You know what I mean? But I really do feel like Kamala, more than anything else, she could be the one to really solve this issue that I see that Biden has with assuming that Black people would vote for him. You know, because I've spoken to my Jamaican cousins. Some of them are just like, I'm not voting because I don't like the attitude. And I'm just like, yo, you can't, that cannot
this
be
is not the year. This is not the year for that foolishness.
So you have the Biden Harris ticket, that team has to be able to resolve that issue of really addressing all communities. I don't know how they're going to do it, if they're going to actually go to these areas or do it, or just...
You mean the Biden gaff?
Right. I'm just saying, you need to go ahead and just say to the Caribbean community, to Black people in this country, here's the deal. Just talk straight up. We cannot assume that you have or that I have your vote. This is what I will do for you. You know what I mean? And just say clear. And also, Harris needs to go ahead and resolve what she did in California. I'm going to say it again. If she just comes out and say, look, maybe some of my policies were a little too harsh, and maybe I should have done this differently. This is what I plan to do as VP. Okay, I can.
At least you address it. Yeah.
I can maybe work with that.
She said that several times in Senate. Several times, not even like 10 or 15. Like several times, and put forward policies, and then said, as VP, you know what? I'm going to make sure they go through, because those Republicans kept on stopping me. Because she and Booker have like 3 bills that deal directly with the mass incarceration that was causing.
So that goes back to the debates we often have, Jason. Maybe she's doing wonderful things, but is that message getting to the masses? Is it getting to the people?
I don't know, but I'm just saying is that she's been doing it, and it was on media all over the place that this is what she and Cory Booker were doing, and that everybody was pushing back. And they kept on saying, yo, we're going to keep on fighting. This is before she even ran. This is long before VP. This is for the past 3-4
Jason,
years.
I don't think the masses know that, though.
Yeah.
No, I got you. No, I'm just describing what is. I'm saying is, first of all, I already know one of the reasons we have the president that we have right now is because people don't pay attention. I got that. Because, like I said to people who I know who voted for him, I'm like, dude, for 3 years, you're talking about the president wasn't from the United States. It was one of the oldest racist tropes. And that they're going to build a wall and Mexico's going to pay for it. Like, why would anybody think of voting somebody who says something that crazy? And they're like, he did? Like, what? And they literally did not know. I had to play the video for them. So I know people don't pay attention. And nobody got the level of exposure that the current president got. Nobody ever has. And people still don't know that part.
This goes back to the original point, and Genesis just reminded us, is that political elitism? Is it the assumption that everybody is paying attention to politics and they will know that you put in these policies in? And then a further extension of that, so we're talking about customized messages per community, is the assumption that anybody who's Black has the same issues and there's no need to personalize it for the Caribbean community versus the Indian community versus the Hispanic community. Is the assumption that all Black and brown people have the same issues, so we just put one message out there and we have them covered. Is that what's happening? Because it could be.
What I will say from what I've found speaking to elected officials, Black and brown officials know clearly that it's not all a monolith. White officials have approached it like we're all one monolith. Like Biden's attitude definitely reflects some of that. The question is, do you want to put in the work that it would take for people? And this has been constant. It's not just politics. This is business, everything. Like when the labels got reggae and soca music, do you want to put in the work that it would take to educate people about the culture? Do you want to put in the work that it would be to include the other elements of the Black communities? And
who wants to put in what are you talking about? Who want to put in the work? Who?
Do the labels, like when the labels in the 90s, when the labels were getting all of this popular music from the Caribbean that was working, that was selling, one of the reasons why we stopped seeing them anymore is because they realized, whoa, we need to do work. You can't sell it like how you sell rap music. You have to package it differently. And they weren't trying to package anything differently. They weren't trying to learn anything about the culture, because that's extra work. Same thing with politics. I'm just saying, it's across the board. Do you want to understand the difference and do the thing that responds to the difference, so that everybody under this big tent is all taken care of, because nobody is the same. That's all I'm saying. And 9 times out of 10, they don't want to do the work.
Okay. All right, so let's start to boil up the issues, because we're talking about a whole lot of things. And, like if we had some key takeaways from today's conversation, what would it be? Let's say for you, Jason, let's start with you. What would be a few key takeaways?
They need to get more serious about outreach to the Caribbean community, straight up. And immigrants, the immigrant community in general, because I think two of the swing states have three of the swing states have large immigrant populations, both immigrants and Caribbean, both Hispanic and Caribbean. So I think they need to put in the work, straight up.
Okay.
I agree.
That being said, I'm glad we have a Caribbean American running for vice president to shove out some orange out to the White House.
Okay. Thank you, Jason.
I agree with Jason. I think the Biden-Harris ticket needs to go ahead and definitely put in a little bit more work in reaching out to those communities, and not assume things or just think that they already have the vote, like you and me, Marissa, because of the other option. Right. I think it's still important, especially because of those swing states.
Okay. And I guess for me, just playing devil's advocate, I would say one of my takeaways is that the Caribbean community needs to be very vocal about what our issues are and find the right platforms to make sure that information is fed up, So it's like we meet in the middle versus just saying, well, they're not doing enough to reach out to us, so we ain't voting. Like what you said, your cousin says, we're not voting. Like, to me, that is not an option this year. Like, democracy is on the line for this election. You have to vote. And if you don't vote, that is a vote. So stop the bullshit. But
exactly.
I'm so happy to hear you say this, Marissa.
what's up to you? You know I vote every year. I mean, you know what your story is.
The choir is coming from the clouds.
But I agree with Jason. I am not knocking this Black woman, Jamaican, Indian immigrant woman. I am actually very happy that she's on the ticket. It's about time, you know what I mean? And I really hope that we're going to see some representation in the White House again. So
wait, I just realized she like you. Cause you got Indian in you too. That's right.
Goodbye,
That.
So totally irrelevant. Okay, so keep it moving. Yeah. So okay, with the little time we have left, a quick question, round robin. What would you say to a Caribbean immigrant who right now is saying they are not going to vote? What would be your response to them?
Outside of the big slap I might give them? Outside of that?
Outside of it.
Sorry. Do you want the continuation of xenophobia and racism in the White House?
Ooh, that's deep. Yeah, if what I would say to someone who does not want to vote is what you just said earlier, Marissa. If you choose not to vote, you're voting for you're giving up the power that you have to make a choice in this election, and also you're giving your vote away to someone else.
Right.
And we can't. We don't have that luxury.
Yeah, not this year.
Never had. As Black people, we've never had that luxury. We definitely don't have that luxury this election.
Right. Yeah. I agree. I totally agree. And one thing I do want to make clear, like when we have conversations like this, in my opinion, it's more about an accountability thing versus a bashing thing. So at the end of the day, like we just want that team to recognize our value as a Caribbean community. And that's it, right? It's not like Kamala is all that bad and Biden is all that bad, you know, like at least for me, that's my motivation. Like, I just want you to be a little more accountable and recognize our value as a Caribbean community and our votes. So yeah.
My conversation has always only been about accountability.
Right.
And straight up, that's why I said what I said as a response, because at the end of the day, this is not even a conversation. We have white supremacy, racism, and xenophobia in the White House right now.
Right.
And I'm not saying that there weren't racist presidents before that. They at least had the sense to pretend like there weren't.
Yeah.
This one is like straight out.
He raising the flag. He's like, we're here.
If you could put the Confederate flag on top of the White House, he would. I mean, was it 2 weeks ago he talked about you must remove diversity training out of federal agencies,
right?
Remove roots. Like roots? Really? Like people mustn't read roots? Yo, get this suit out, yo. Straight. Sorry.
Yeah, it gets increasingly concerning, especially as Black and immigrants. You know, it's worrisome just seeing the trend that we're on right now. So November 3rd, sorry, we have an opportunity to change it.
It's quite a political Caribbean current here.
Very.
Very true. Very true. Yes.
Woo. All right. Any closing remarks before we wrap up?
Vote.
Please vote. It's not optional. All right. This was another episode of Caribbean Current, the entire team sharing our perspectives on a VP nominee who also has immigrant roots and her accountability to the Caribbean community and what we want to see for this election. So let us know what you think. Hit us up on any social media outlet or our YouTube channel or our website. tobecaribbean.com is a website and tobecaribbean is a handle on all social media outlets. Number 2, letter B, Caribbean with a K. And Genesis is reminding us about get in the ballots.
Get on ballots.
Get on ballots.
And the point she's making is a lot of us have been thrown off of ballots and off of the voters roll and we don't even know. So find out about the mail-in ballots. Find out if you're registered still. Don't walk up on the day of and find out that they've thrown you off on that day because there's no time to really do what needs to be done. Find out about mail-in ballots, provisional ballots, especially in Georgia. The last election, 200,000 people got kicked off and did not know. Let's not have that happen again.
Indeed.
Good point.
Yeah.
All right.
With that, we're out. Jason, Nailah, Marissa, and Janice is our producer. Till the next